Jurassic World Dominion, or alternatively titled Jurassic World Nostalgia Bait, is the third and final installment in the second Jurassic Park trilogy that should never have been made. The movie continues to make the same mistakes that happened in the first two, but does succeed in being marginally more enjoyable. Comment down below, let us know what you thought of the third Jurassic World movie. I'm your host, Brennan Sem. Joining me this week is none other than Shayde Sem. Like and subscribe down below for more nerd content and commentary. Now let's roll the intro. Jurassic World Dominion was released in 2022, and in it, 4 years after the destruction of Isla Nublar, Biosyn operatives attempt to track down Maisie Lockwood, while Dr. Ellie Sattler investigates a genetically engineered swarm of giant insects. The film is directed by Colin Trevorrow and written by Emily Carmichael, Colin Trevorrow, and Derek Connolly, and stars Chris Pratt, Bryce Dallas Howard, Laura Dern, Sam Neill, Jeff Goldblum, DeWanda Wise, Mahmoudou Athie, Isabella Sermon, and Campbell Scott. Now, as always, we're going to begin with a brief non-spoiler review. Shayde, what did you think of Jurassic World Dominion?
It was fun. I liked it a lot better than the first two. Just for the sore fact that the dinosaurs are, everywhere now. Like you just interact with them everywhere. And it's now just a problematic thing for the U.S. And I guess I don't know if the dinosaurs, there's something I've never thought about. I don't know if the dinosaurs are anywhere else but the U.S. I would assume they would be because they can fly and some can fly and swim.
Well, yeah, and I mean we know for a fact that there are people who are poachers who are going and kidnapping dinosaurs and taking them to other places. But yeah, I mean the place where they were set free, the mansion, the Lockwood Mansion, that was in the U.S., wasn't it? Or was that in the U.K.? I don't really remember.
That might have been the U.S.
Here's some inside baseball. We recorded that episode a long time ago.
Yes.
They come out week after week, but it was a long time ago. Yeah, I mean, I will say, I don't know if I like this movie better than the first one, because the first one I think is actually moderately solid. I do think it's the best of the trilogy, even though in many ways it is just a reprint of Jurassic Park 1. It's the same thing that we often talk about with like Star Wars, The Force Awakens. It's basically A New Hope, but it's a very well-made movie, and so because of that, it's pretty fun to watch.
Yeah.
Whereas these other two, I don't really know. My biggest issue with this movie is that I think the screenplay is really poorly written. Like you talk about the dialogue. I just think it's not good here.
No,
it's not good, and there's not a lot of. Most of the acting is not great.
No,
even from like some of the original cast, like Laura Dern, who I think is a tremendous actress. I enjoy seeing her in lots of things, but in this movie, I really don't think that she had it.
No, the thing is like. I feel like Bryce Dallas Howard's acting slowly fades away throughout the span of like these last two movies. Just for the sort, I mean, the first movie we kind of dog on her for a little bit for her acting, and of course reasonably so. Her acting was not too phenomenal in the first one, but it definitely like was better than these last two. And I really feel like Bryce Dallas Howard's acting in this one was the worst out of the other two. I don't know. I feel like she was lacking a lot of emotion at times. And we talked about that in the other two episodes, how like she'll have the same reaction for everything, like that crap. And it's just, and I don't know. I just felt like she was more emotionless in this movie.
Yeah, and I don't feel like the interactions between her and Maisie Lockwood, who's played by Isabella Sermon, I don't know if the interactions there were necessarily super great. It was one of those moments where I'm like, this is a really weird relationship, and I don't know, they're obviously trying to go for like adopted parents, adopted child dynamic, and I don't know if they pull it off.
I felt that more with Chris Pratt and her.
Definitely.
But yeah, Bryce Dallas Howard and her, it just. What's her name again?
Claire?
Claire. I was going to say Kaylin. I'm just going to say Claire for now instead of saying her full name. Claire's relationship with the girl, it really did not sell me on the adopted mother factor at all. Like she plays it. Like she, they're trying hard. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, don't go out there. Hey, stay here. You shouldn't be doing that.
Well, and the trouble is, because it's basically the inflection point. It's the end of Act 1 where Maisie, that is, gets well, we should move to the spoiler section. That was close.
Spoilers.
But before we get into the spoiler section, I'm going to very politely ask you all to head on over to patreon.com/newwavenerds. There, if you enjoy the work that we do and want to help us make these videos even better, it's the perfect place to support us. We've got various different tiers, with the lowest starting at just $3 a month. Every little helps because we really want to be able to do this and make these videos look and sound even better. But it's difficult to do. It takes work. And so we want to keep doing it, and we hope you guys enjoy the stuff we do. And if you do, then that is the place to go and help us continue.
For the price of a can of soda, maybe a bottle.
I mean, it's like maybe like 50 cents more than a bottle.
Yeah.
Buck more than a bottle. I don't know. It's a month, I mean, don't drink a Coke for once a month and support us.
Drink water.
Drink water, you fat. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. As I drink a large fountain root beer. I'm kidding. If you can support, if you don't want to, it's completely understandable.
Yes.
But we'd appreciate it. Now, let's get to the spoiler section. So it's at the end of the first act when Maisie is abducted by these poachers. Because it's so soon. Now, of course, from a story perspective and a writing perspective, I understand why it's so soon, because that's the main crux of the story for these characters. But because it's so soon, I feel like we don't really get a good enough... the writing is not strong enough in that 30-minute period to really establish the relationship between these two. And I think it's a little harmed by the fact that we don't necessarily get to see them interact all that much in the second movie.
Yeah. I mean, what? Just at the end?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I mean, I think you're right. I think that's pretty much exactly what it is. And so we come into this situation knowing that they've spent at least 4 years together, but it doesn't really feel like it. And I don't know. It's tough. Again, and I don't know how you would necessarily fix it in such a short time frame. I'm not a good enough writer to come up with that off the fly. But it felt a little unearned.
Yeah, it really did. There's so much with Maisie that I just don't understand still.
Mm-hmm. When we talked about this last time when we talked about Fallen Kingdom, I hate the idea that she is cloned.
I know.
I hate that. I mean, again, like I think I mentioned in that video, it is like a logical leap from where the franchise has been going. You start off cloning dinosaurs from DNA. It's logical that you would attempt to clone a human, but I just don't really like it. It's a weird addition to the universe, and I don't know if it really pays off or matters in any way. They sort of, I was just going to say, they sort of set it up in this movie that Maisie's sort of own personal journey is about her coming to terms with the fact that she is a clone.
Yeah.
But in the middle, I feel like they don't really hit on it enough. I feel like they don't spend enough time working with it, and so it just feels like it's tacked on. And I think part of that is because my other alternative title for this movie was going to be Jurassic World and the 50,000 supporting actors. There are so many people, and most of them don't really have much to do.
Yeah.
I mean, let me just run through this again. So obviously we have Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard. They're supposed to be the main two. Although honestly, they're really not in this movie.
No,
it's their trilogy, and they kind of take a back seat.
It's so weird how, like, okay, so yeah, I mean, Chris Pratt, Bryce, they get split up in the movie for a while, and then I mean, I remember there is a span. There is a span where, like, when they're separated, where we don't even see Claire at all for a long time. We don't know what happens to her, and it's right after that parachute where she's stuck in the tree, well, I actually think it's the inverse. Right after that happens, we kind of follow Claire for a little bit, and we don't really see what happens with Chris Pratt. And then it's after a while she goes to him, or she goes to the plane crash, and he pops out or whatever. Yeah,
and then that's where we get the scene with the ice.
Yeah,
do you remember that? I might be remembering that wrong.
Where they're fighting, yeah, like it's Chris Pratt and Kayla Watts.
Yeah, we'll get to her in a minute. I'm just going down the cast list.
Oh, no, you're good. Sorry. So yeah, I mean,
it's Bryce Dallas Howard's and Chris Pratt's trilogy, and They really don't have anything to do. Yeah. And if we're being honest, when you look at the movie, as far as the actual main conflict goes with Biosyn, they have nothing to do with that. They don't have anything to do with that. Yeah. The whole Biosyn plot line, which is what is described in the synopsis, that's completely Ellie Sattler's story arc. And Alan Grant, but mostly Ellie Sattler.
Man, yeah, they brought back Ellie and Grant and Ian heavy for this movie.
I mean, it's literally their movie.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, the first part of the movie we're really just following when we pass the Chris Pratt and Bryson little girl,
Maisie.
I'm gonna get it down. Anyway, when we pass them for a long time, it's just Ellie and Alan going to the
Biosyn.
I almost said Bioshock.
They're gonna go see Big Daddy.
They're going underwater. No, the Biosyn. We spent a lot of time with them there.
Mm-hmm. Well, again, that's literally the main story crux. I mean, the movie ends with Dr. Henry Wu solving the insect plague.
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, isn't the first scene we see of the locusts? I know it's early on.
Where like they're attacking the
kids?
At
the farm, yeah.
The farm?
Is that the first scene we see? Or is that just really early?
That might just be really early.
I don't really remember.
Because the first scene, I'm pretty sure the first scene is like a news report. Or not a news report.
Well, yeah, that's fair.
Like a
montage of establishing that it's been 4 years since the last movie.
Yeah, which was disappointing. I wanted to talk about that. Because, I talked about last time how I was like, every Jurassic movie always has a wild cold opening. And this didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of sucked. I was hoping for something cool.
Well, and I mean, that's the moment, that's one of the things you can tell this new trilogy, it's not horror films.
Yeah.
The reason that the first one was so good, and I know that we talked about this, maybe in the first one or the second one, the reason Jurassic Park 1 is so good is because it's scary. Yeah. It's scary. And of course, it's revolutionary in like special effects and puppetry and stuff, but it's a horror movie.
There was a scene in this movie, though, that like gave me chills. When Claire is
in the puddle,
in the
pond or whatever,
you see the freaking hands coming out on the sides, and she just goes under, and then like he like ripples the water above her head.
Yeah, he screams. I didn't give me chills because while she's slowly crawling towards the water, and I'm like, this is a predator. Why would it not attack right now?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Then also. The reason, I know that like you're not supposed to go underwater and hide from bees because they'll just wait for you to come up and get air and sting you. And so that's why I was wondering, like, are they really just going to have this guy walk away?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like these dinosaurs, the way that they play them all out is that they're pretty intelligent.
Yeah, they are pretty intelligent.
Yeah. But anyways, so let's going back to the 50 million supporting characters. We talked about Laura Dern, Sam Neill, and Jeff Goldblum. It's their movie.
Yeah.
Well, it's Laura Dern and Sam Neill's movie. Jeff Goldblum is there.
Yeah, he's just there.
He's there.
He's
the comic relief.
I was just about to say that, but I was like, this whole movie is just a freaking comedic relief. Yeah, dude.
Jeff Goldblum's line delivery, as always, is so great. He's just so dry. It's great. I love the part where, and this is a sidetrack because I did want to talk about the supporting actors, but when after Laura Dern and Sam Neill are trying to escape the Biosyn facilities with Maisie, and they come up to this gate, and it's locked with a code.
Oh, yeah.
And, they're like, put the code in. And Jeff Goldblum, he's just like, I didn't know there'd be a code. And then they're freaking out, and he's like, this guy's birthday. He's just chilling out, and he's like, there's over 40 million combinations.
Yeah, and then the guy unlocks it, and he's like, it worked. I
didn't know that would work.
It worked.
Yeah, that's great. So again, moving to the rest of the supporting cast. Let's talk about that guy first, even though he's a little lower down the cast list. Mamoudou Athie plays Ramsey Cole, who is the communications director at Biosyn. He is the guy who gives the, as we learn towards the end of the film, he is the guy who gives the information to Jeff Goldblum, which allows Ellie Sattler and Alan Grant to go and figure out the truth about these locusts.
What do you think about him?
Mostly a pointless character.
That's what I was thinking.
He doesn't really get any necessarily development. He's just there to
show up and save the day.
literally. He's like the Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: is that because there's so many characters, I think the guy's a good actor.
Yeah.
And I would have liked to have seen more of him, but because there's so many characters, nobody who isn't Ellie Sattler or Alan Grant actually gets any development whatsoever. Literally, Ellie Sattler and Alan Grant are the only people who like change throughout the movie. Everybody else just stays the same. Maisie's the closest because she comes to terms with the fact that she's like, oh, I did have a mom.
Yeah.
But nobody else does.
Well, now you got 2, so don't be spoiled.
Yeah, but one of them's dead. So she still only got one. You know what I mean? She had to.
All
well, no,
right.
even at the time, she's only ever had one at one time.
Wow.
She never knew her mom,
Yeah, no. But,
right? Because didn't her mom die when she was really young?
Yeah. Yeah.
In any case, so that guy, he doesn't get any development. And then we have Kayla Watts, who's played by DeWanda Wise. No development whatsoever. Literally just there to fly the plane.
Yeah. I mean,
and crack some jokes, which are poorly delivered and poorly written.
yeah, she was not funny.
Now, again, here is the thing. Ramsey Cole, Kayla Watts, these are characters who I feel like could have been really, really good. But because they're sharing the screen with 9 other characters,
it felt forced.
it felt like she was just there out of convenience.
Yeah.
They were like, okay, we need to figure out some way to get Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard to the island. How are we going to do that? And she doesn't do anything. She doesn't, you know what I mean? Like, she flies the plane, but she doesn't actually play any, I don't know. She's just there to be the pilot. And I'm like, if you're going to include some of these characters who I think are actually kind of interesting, then you need to do something with them.
Well, Kayla Watts, her backstory is pretty freaking cool. You know? Or not her backstory, but what we know.
She's a poacher. She's a terrible person.
I thought there was more to it than just...
I mean, there probably is more to it, but we don't really get to learn much. And she's the kind of person who goes and kidnaps dinosaurs for money and takes them to other people.
Well, now you got me feeling bad for what I said.
You know, and they make her a poacher and they try to give her like this redeeming quality of the fact that like she's helping Owen Grady. She's helping Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard because she has like a heart of gold and she doesn't want to see something bad happen to this kid. But there's really no explanation. They never really talk about it. We never get to actually see her go through any change.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There are too many characters is what I'm getting at here. There's too many characters. If you had, sorry, I hate to interrupt again.
That's okay.
If you had taken out, but I hate to interrupt, but I was in the middle of my
I know,
point,
I'm
so
sorry.
technically
So,
you interrupted.
yeah.
If you had taken out the 3 original actors, these 2 new characters could have had some really interesting development.
Yeah.
They could have had some interesting development. Oh, and then I forgot, we also get cameos from a million other characters. Henry Wu appeared in all of them, basically.
Barry.
I
was so happy he came back, though.
Yeah, he was the guy who was working with Chris Pratt in the first Jurassic World movie. Some reason he's a member of French intelligence.
I know, which is so
Yeah.
weird to just drop that.
And then we have Justice Smith, who's a character from Fallen Kingdom. For some reason, he's a CIA agent.
For like 2 seconds in this movie.
Yep, and his personality is completely different.
Yeah.
And I thought he acted fine in the second movie. In this one, man, for as little as he's in there, it was bad.
Well, yeah, he acts like this bad CIA agent now.
Yeah, I mean they're trying to play it like the fact that after these 4 years, he's like a hardened man, but it just doesn't come across.
No,
and again, it's another situation where I'm like, this is like 5 minutes of screen time that you could have taken out. It wouldn't have changed the movie. And you could have given it to some other character. You could have given it to Kayla Watts. You could have given it to Ramsey Cole. Now, I did see that there is an extended version on Peacock, which adds 20 extra minutes.
Oh.
And so maybe that adds some more to these characters. But I refused to watch almost 3 hours of this movie.
I was like, I ain't going back.
I refuse to do it.
I ain't going back. Yeah.
I ain't going back.
I ain't going back.
I probably will watch it at some point just to see the differences.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, and as always, I'm sure the extended version is better. I mean, that's just the way it is. You get more time.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, look, the extended versions of Lord of the Rings are definitely better. The director's cut of Daredevil 2003 is better.
Rebel Moon.
I haven't seen those.
Just kidding.
Spencer saw him. He said that the extended versions were much better.
Yeah.
Which I would believe, but I really don't have that much of a desire to go back and see them.
Yeah,
The first one was not interesting.
Oh my god, it was bad.
The extended version of Watchmen so much better than the theatrical cut.
Snyder Cut, right? That's technically an extended version.
Yes, it is. It is. Yeah, but that one is kind of different because that's not like a situation where he shot those scenes and then an executive or an editor or the studio was like, "We got to cut this down." It was a situation where he had to leave the production because of an unfortunate incident in his life, and then they came back and did reshoots. So yes, technically that is true, but I wouldn't necessarily count that in the same way because this context is different.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it's better, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I do think I enjoyed this movie more than Fallen Kingdom. I think I agree with you there. But again, it's just, I think I nailed it on the head in the intro when I called it Jurassic World nostalgia bait.
It is definitely nostalgia bait.
You know what I mean? I don't necessarily see any reason to bring back Ellie Sattler, Alan Grant, and Ian Malcolm other than because not that many people liked the first two, and so they needed to get butts in seats.
Well, Ian Malcolm, like he did, like a lot of the characters go back and do at least one iconic thing that they did from the first one, and Ian's was when he has I can't remember if it was a torch or not, but he has something on a stick, and he's like, "Oh, it's one of the."
It's a flaming locust.
Yeah, it's a flaming locust on like a spiky thing, and he's like waving it, like he did in the first movie. He didn't run; he freaking spears that right in the mouth.
Oh yeah. To be honest with you, I wish he had been eaten by the dinosaur.
Wouldn't that be crazy?
It would have been such a satisfying ending for him because again, from the beginning, he's the guy who was like, "Okay, this is the selfish one." Yeah. It would have been nice to have seen him be sacrificial, to be selfless, to give himself up so that everybody else can get away.
Yeah.
But this is not that kind of movie. This is the kind of movie where literally every single one of the characters is going to live.
Yeah, literally. I mean,
everybody lives practically except for Lewis Dodgson, the bad guy.
Yeah. I liked his role. I felt like he played a pretty good awkward type of scientist role. Last thing I've seen him in is literally Spider-Man.
Amazing Spider-Man. Yeah.
I was like, where have I seen this guy from?
I know that I've seen him in something else more recently than that, but now I can't remember what it was. But he's a fine enough actor. Definitely not necessarily the best in the whole world. Oh, House of Cards is what I'm thinking of.
I have to watch House of Cards. Grandpa told me I have to.
Yeah.
He was like, you have to one day.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. I never actually saw the last season because that's when I don't know necessarily how amazing the story is going to be after that because the last season is when the main gentleman had some allegations thrown against him. Kevin Spacey. I was trying not to say it. He had some allegations thrown against him, and so he left the project, and they wrote him out of the story. I think the season should have ended, or the series should have ended at season 5, because I can't actually. I was just about to spoil the whole series for you. Man, that was a close one.
What did Kevbo do?
Kevbo?
Kev Spacey, bro.
Oh.
I'm just kidding. We don't need to talk about that.
Let's not. You mean Lex Luthor?
Yes, my bad.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. This movie, it's fine enough. It's not tremendous. It's, it's. I still think the first one's probably a little better because it's, again, being a basic repeat of Jurassic Park. It's got good bones, Yeah. Whereas the next two are sort of more awkward.
The first one definitely had more of a horror base to it than these two.
I definitely like, though, that this one, you could very much tell that they used more practical effects in this one than in any of the others. And I did enjoy that a lot.
Yeah, you guys know we're suckers for practical.
Oh, yeah. But Shayde, any final thoughts before we close this out?
I watched these movies when I was a little boy, and I love the first one, but I didn't actually get to go back and watch them all now. And rewatching them, they're fun, but they're lacking in a lot of things.
Definitely.
And I don't know how excited I am for the next one, but I could tell you, there is some slight excitement, some slight, because these movies are still fun.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested enough to see what they do with Rebirth, if for no other reason than the fact that it's a complete reboot. We're hopefully the fact that it's a new trilogy gives me some hope that maybe they've looked at the reaction to this Jurassic World trilogy and now they're thinking, okay, let's take that in and let's make these great again.
Yeah.
I don't have too much confidence per se, but
just wait till we see Scarlett Johansson turn into a dinosaur, bro.
yeah, sure.
It'll happen.
Yeah, that AI trailer was so funny. But yeah, I think that's where we're going to leave it now. So again, let us know down in the comments what you guys thought of Jurassic World Dominion. Let us know if you hated it or if you thought it was the best movie ever made.
You love it.
Yeah, either is reasonable. Let's see. Let me look at the calendar. We're going to be back here Thursday. I'm going to be back here Thursday to talk about the greatest Green Lantern run of all time, Jeff Johns' landmark series. It defined the character. And I'm doing that on July 3rd because that, coincidentally, is the exact 1 year anniversary of when I started reading Green Lantern.
Interestingly enough, it is a day before Independence Day, and I believe depending on who it is, I don't know if it's Hal Jordan or Jon Stewart that's the main guy for this one, but they're both veterans.
Oh,
they're both veterans.
I thought you were gonna say that one of them was born on Independence Day. And I was like, is that true? How do you know that and I don't? Yeah, I mean, depending on the continuity, Jon Stewart, he is a Marine now. He didn't used to be. He used to be just an architect. In the main continuity, nowadays it's been retconned. He's a Marine. Hal Jordan, I honestly am not sure what his in-canon origin right now. Sometimes he is a member of the Air Force, and sometimes he's just a test pilot and he's never served.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I can't remember which it is currently, to be honest with you. But a great series, yes. Like I said, define the character. The greatest retcon of all time. The greatest retcon of all time happens in Green Lantern Rebirth, and I will stand by that. There have been lots of good retcons. There have been lots of terrible retcons. Green Lantern Rebirth is the only one where I was like, this changed everything and for the better.
Oh, okay.
But to find out what that is, you're going to have to wait until July 3rd. Whoa!
Cliffhanger.
Whoa, smooth, wasn't it? Yeah. So yeah, greatest Green Lantern run of all time, July 3rd. And then we'll be back here July 8th to talk about Jurassic World Rebirth, the new movie, which stars Scarlett Johansson, Rupert Friend, Mahershala Ali, and Jonathan Bailey.
We got two amazing actors right there.
Who?
Scarlett Johansson and Mahershala Ali, bro.
I don't know if I would say ScarJo's amazing. She's pretty good, but she's not amazing in my opinion. But Mahershala Ali's great. Rupert Friend is great. We got Ed Skrein, who's all right. I think I don't know many of the other people.
Yeah.
But it's directed by Gareth Edwards.
What did Gareth Edwards do?
Star Wars Rogue One.
Oh.
So this dude knows in the 2014 Godzilla movie, I forgot that too.
Oh.
This dude knows how, and the creator as well.
Oh.
This dude knows how to make good special effects on a relatively small budget. I almost said button.
You freaking know how much I love that Godzilla movie.
It's also written by David Koepp, who we recently discussed in the Mission Impossible My Father Before Me, which came out.
Go check that out.
Like a week and a half ago. We had a lot of fun with that. But yes, we're excited. Hoping for the best. Honestly, I never hope a movie is bad.
Yeah.
I always hope it blows my socks off.
But you gave me a mindset, just because I've been around you my whole life. You've given me a mindset with movies now to where I should go into the movie believing it's going to be ass.
Yeah, go into it hoping it's going to be bad so that you can get your socks blown off.
Yeah.
That's the problem that I think we've had with a lot of movies.
Yeah.
Because we go in, especially with like Marvel movies, we go in hoping and praying that they're going to be amazing. And then when they're only good or when they're bad, we come out even more sour than before.
Thor: Love and Thunder, dude.
That was so funny. I don't know if we've told this story on the podcast before, but we went to go see Thor: Love and Thunder opening weekend. And it was just me and Shayde at the Marcus Theater in Omaha. And we came out of it. And I was like, what'd you think? And Shayde was like, that's the best movie I've ever seen. And I was like, are you sure about that, dude? I was like, that was not good. You thought it was so much better than Ragnarok the first time you saw it.
I take it all back.
I take it all back. Man, we got a lot of songs in this episode.
NWN.
And new wave music. That's already a genre, man.
Yeah, we already have that cooking. Stay tuned for NWN music.
Oh. I went way over my head.
Over that.
Man, what a fumble. In any case,
that's okay.
That's where we're going to leave it. We've definitely jabbered on for quite long enough. So I will be back to see you this Thursday to talk about some Green Lantern.
Heck yeah.